This is Chris, the Idaho Painter here on Paint Live TV. Today I got a small deck behind me, and this deck has got an issue with splintering, splitting, and checking. And we're gonna try to resolve this issue, or we're going to resolve this issue with a product called Super Deck, Deck and Dock. And it's gonna help seal the splintering down, help fill up some of the checks and splits. So if you wanna see how we fix this deck, make it look brand new again, stay tuned for this video. All right, so I got the deck behind me. We're gonna be doing a little bit of sanding on some spots where the dogs chewed on the corners of the deck. We're gonna seal down screw down some loose boards on this, and then we're gonna begin coating the deck. I'm just gonna be using some simple tools, 9-inch roller, some stain brushes, some foam brushes to get in between each one of the planks on the deck. And then we're gonna be putting on 2 coats of this Deck and Dock to help fill in the checking and help seal down the splintering on this deck. This deck was built with Douglas fir, which is not ideal for building decks because of the issue Douglas fir splinters, splits, and checks really easily. It's not also very resistant to bugs. It's better to build a deck with something like redwood. But it was built with Douglas fir, and we're gonna help try to resolve this issue. So come on and let's stain the deck. So now, as an added service to the customer, I'm just going around the deck and I'm taking some deck screws, self-tapping screws, and just tightening up any loose boards so I don't have any loose boards sticking up or popping up. And it's a service I just do at no charge for the customer. Once all my loose boards are tightened up, I'm just gonna grab my blower and do a final blow off of the deck. And I just take my 5-in-1 tool and I'm going around making sure there's no leaves or debris in any of the gaps of the deck, and then we'll get ready to start staining. I've got 2 gallons of Deck and Dock, so definitely wanna box your paints together so you have color consistency. I believe it's probably gonna take more than 2 gallons. The customer bought 2 gallons. I'm gonna have to go probably get at least 1 more gallon. This product is extremely thick. It's like an elastomeric coating, and it doesn't go very far. So probably gonna have to go get a couple more gallons. These are it's a 4-pack of foam brushes, and especially if you're doing a color change on your deck, you gotta get that coating, that colorant down in between each one of your planks. You can, if you do own an airless sprayer, you can make this process a whole lot faster with an airless sprayer and just spraying it down in these gaps. But this being a small deck, I didn't want to go to the extent of hooking up an airless. I got several packs of these sponges because I'll probably go through a handful of them because the deck is pretty splintered down in the middle. On these ends, I could just jam it down in these ends. If I try to go back and forth, it's going to tear up the sponge really fast. This stuff being really thick too, it's you don't want to make sure that you wipe it back and forth and then get it off the top, level it out on the top, and make sure it doesn't bridge the gap of your planks either, because if it bridges the gap, it doesn't look very good either. You see it, it's not a super fast process, but it's not a super slow process either. This is filling in quite a bit of this splitting and checking already just with one coat. It's really a great product for taking a really old deck, making an old deck look new again, or at least making it look a lot better again. Because as expensive as wood is, it's gonna cost a lot of money to replace a deck like this. A customer actually got an estimate to replace this deck, and it was like $1,000 just to tear the deck out. So this is a lot more affordable, and this is gonna look a lot better once it's done. And I'm gonna test this out because it's being the deck and dock. I don't want it to go bridge the gap down in those cracks. I'm gonna see the roller starts to put too much down in the cracks, which I don't really like. I can't control it as much as I can with the brush, so I think I'm going to stick with the brush. Being this is a small deck, and the gaps are pretty wide on the deck, so some are wide, some are narrow. And I'm brushing this, always going in the direction of my planks. I don't want to cross this way because it'll drag the product off my brush down into the gaps, which I don't want to do. And it's always good practice to paint with the grain, whatever you're doing. If you're spraying, spray with the grain. If you're sanding, sand with the grain. If you're brushing, brush with the grain. This product is filling it in really nice. And you're not gonna have to be so worried about getting splinters on this deck if you had bare feet, on here. This stuff is what they actually use, what the name says, for decks and docks. And on a dock, people are running around on wooden docks, and you don't want to get splinters on your feet when you're out swimming, because that kind of spoils the day. I kind of want this to have more of a kind of a faux finish to it, with the brush marks, but I want them to all be going same direction. Once again, people ask me, well, why not just roll it? It'll be faster. You could roll it, you could brush it. Rolling and brushing are accomplishing the same thing, basically, and that's pushing it in, getting good penetration, getting good adhesion, where spraying just lays it on the top and doesn't, by nature, have any adhesion or penetration properties to it, because it's just spraying it out. So you can use a sprayer. We use a sprayer for speed of application, getting the product on fast, but then we always go back and back brush and back roll it when it comes to a deck. So we're just talking decks, right now. It's going fairly fast. cruising right along here. It's taken about an hour, to get this much of the deck done so far. Got one handy little tip. Customer got 2 gallons of the product, and I definitely, as I was cruising along, knew I was gonna need more. And what you don't wanna do is run completely out of product, because what you wanna be able to do is have some product that you can box the new product that you're getting together. That way you'll still have color consistency. So I took and got the extra gallon, stuck it in my bucket with what I had left over. I got to a point where I had about a half a gallon left over, and then I stopped to get the other gallon put in there. So that way I had a half a gallon to mix with my other gallon, and that way I knew I was gonna have a consistent color. So you typically always want to, as a professional painter, try never to run out of product. Always get enough so you don't have to take a chance of not having anything to box. But don't run it completely out is one of the keys. And then start with a fresh gallon, because if you had a spot in the middle of the deck that you wanted to touch up or something, there's a good chance the color's not gonna match. So getting close to being done here. I could say, there's still some splintering that shows, some cracks that show. You could just put on another heavy coat and really fill in, a lot more of this, and just give it kind of an overall, smooth look to it if you wanted. So it all just depends on what your ultimate goal is with the deck, what you want it to look like, how much you want to fill in. And that's something you could go over with the customer, show them, how does this look to you? You want me to fill in more of the grain? So you could just get a lot more smoother look to it, by adding another coat on it. Because the next coat's not going to absorb in at all, because it's sealed now with the first coat. So there you have it. Our deck is all completed now. We've restored it with deck and dock. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you got any questions or comments about the product, about restoring a deck with deck and dock or a dock itself, leave it down in the comments section below. If you enjoy our videos, please consider giving us a thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. And once again, questions, comments, if you've used the product, leave it down in the comments section below. We try to get to our questions and comments and answer your questions and reply to your comments as often as we can. And once again, don't forget, hit the subscribe button somewhere around here, hit the notification bell right next to it. That way you get notified every time I come out with a new video. We'll see you on our next video. Out.